Okay.
Yeah, let's go back on the record. Mr. Foley?
Yes, should we start over since we're on the record?
Fine.
I'd like to call Nathan Klein to the stand as a witness.
And Mr. Klein has been sworn in, so
Okay,
we're ready
thank
to
you.
proceed.
State your name for the record, please.
Sure, it's Nathan Klein, C-L-I-N-E.
And your occupation, sir?
I'm a civil engineer employed by Pennoni, P-E-N-N-O-N-I.
And is that company and or you in particular serving as the township's engineer?
Correct, we're the appointed township engineer for East Brandywine.
Drawing your attention to what we've pre-marked as Exhibit T for Township 10. Is that an accurate copy of your CV or resume?
Yes,
And I note that you're a municipal engineer for several municipalities, is that correct?
Are the parties willing to stipulate that and recognize Mr. Klein as an expert in civil engineering?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
In particular, may we stipulate that he is an expert in the field of municipal engineering?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Klein, you have reviewed this application for conditional use,
yes.
written review letters.
Yes, I believe we've issued 2 review letters.
Are you familiar with the property?
Yes.
Have you visited the property?
I have not been personally on the property, I've been on the perimeter of the property.
To the property?
Yes.
Yes. One of the topics I'd like to go through with you is the criteria under the township's zoning ordinance, section 399-137, D is in, capital D is in dog 1, entitled Criteria and Standards for Conditional Use Approval. I should have handed you, do you have a copy of that ordinance section?
I do not believe that's here.
Sorry, can you repeat the section?
Yes, 399-137, D is in dog 1. Do you have a copy of that with you?
I might have one of my notes.
Okay. Sorry. That's it. This is the section that provides, and I quote, in evaluating an application to the Board of Supervisors for a conditional use, the board shall require the applicant to provide information to indicate the required standards and criteria have been met as described below. And then there are a total of 11 criteria that I would like to walk through with you. The first is letter A. The applicant shall establish compliance with the conditions for grant of conditional uses enumerated in that section that gives rise to the applicant the right to seek a conditional use. And have you and I looked at that applicable section?
Yes.
And in general, was there anything that jumped out of that section that would indicate it's not feasible to meet those criteria?
No, that section spoke to area and bulk, other types of requirements that generally something could work for this site.
Very well. Item B is the applicant shall establish that the conditional use is consistent with the township's comprehensive plan. Have you reviewed the township's comprehensive plan in conjunction with this application, or at least the applicable parts?
Yes.
And what do you find with regard to whether the applicant has or can meet this criteria?
You know, I don't want to be wishy-washy, but probably a little bit of a yes and a no.
In what sense?
I would suggest that, you know, from a use perspective, the proposed townhouses would be consistent in this location, Guthriesville Village, comprehensive plan and how that's laid out. You know, however, there's probably some inconsistencies, such as the East Reesville Road extension in the vicinity of this site, potentially on this site, So it's probably a little bit of yes and a little bit of no for that one.
So for example, it's consistent with, the plan is consistent with zoning for the area,
Yes.
but I'm showing you and draw your attention to what's been pre-marked as Exhibit T11, which is selected pages from the comprehensive plan. Can I draw your attention to page 3.9, which is the second to last in the packet?
Yes.
This is under the heading of goals, objectives, and implementation, specifically with regard to the plan for Guthriesville Village. And I'll state for the record that the highlighting is mine, not original. Can you comment on whether the plan is or is not consistent with the two highlighted objectives for implementation?
Again, it's a little bit of a tweener in that on one of the most recent sketches, there's a portion of a road indicated. But again, it's the ability to construct that road, adjacent property owners, PennDOT, DEP, there's a lot of variables there. So as a proof of concept, doesn't exist. It's essentially lines on a plan at this point. So we don't know that that's going to work.
Fair enough. Item C is that the applicant shall establish that the proposed conditional use is consistent with neighboring uses and will not detract from or cause harm to neighboring properties, and will be maintained in a manner in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. Typically, what information would be provided in order to demonstrate compliance with that?
There's a few things here. First of all, screening, buffering from adjacent properties is always a consideration. The design and layout of the site regards to stormwater management, that this site can handle stormwater management, rate control, infiltration, various requirements, such that it's not going to impact adjacent properties. For example, spilling water onto an adjacent property or not having enough capacity. Does it need some sort of relief or not be able to meet the code for those various reasons?
From what's been provided to you, have you received enough information to form a conclusion that the applicant has and can feasibly meet this requirement?
Not at this time, no.
Item D is that the applicant shall establish that if the proposed use is to be carried out in progressive stages, that each stage can and will be planned so that the conditions set forth in the section shall be fully complied with at the completion of each stage, which may include the early completion of certain traffic improvements, roadways, recreational facilities, passive open space areas, trails, and other public improvements. In this case, as you just alluded to, the applicant is proposing to construct one half of a proposed roadway. Is that correct?
I don't want to say one half, but a portion of a proposed roadway.
And so at least as to the roadway, the project is proposed in stages. I believe the precise wording in the application or in the response to your review letter is that the applicant would dedicate what I'll call half-width roadway to the township upon their acquisition of the other half and its construction. So are you satisfied that the applicant can feasibly construct a half roadway to this property and thereby have that stage be in full compliance with the township's ordinances and requirements?
No, yeah, specifically in regards to the proposed road, the information has not been provided on how that would be constructed, how that would be scheduled, phased, working again with multiple other agencies, DEP, PennDOT, potentially adjacent properties needing easements. So there's a lack of information regarding that aspect of the plan.
And has there been any information provided as to any cooperation with or consents from the adjacent property owner?
Nothing that I'm aware of or that was included in the package to my knowledge.
Well, item E is the requirement that the applicant shall establish by credible evidence with supporting documentation that the capacity of the road system providing access to the property or lot in question has sufficient capacity to accommodate the use, and that when the incremental increase in traffic attributable to the proposed use is superimposed on the existing use of roads, it shall not lower the level of service of the roads or any portions thereof or any street intersections below an acceptable level of service. Period. Traffic improvements to such roads may be shown in order to effect the same. Has there been any presentation of traffic counts or the effect of this proposed development of 21 townhouse units on either the intersection or the road, the existing roads?
No, nothing was supplied or provided.
There was a presentation of a traffic study relating to a different property, was there not?
It was included in the packet was a traffic study prepared by, I believe, Traffic Planning and Design, TPD, for the adjacent Plank McCausland tract that's being constructed currently.
That's sufficient from your point of view as an engineer to demonstrate feasibility of the compliance with this section of the ordinance?
No.
Item F is that the applicant shall provide details and documentation regarding the probable demand created by the proposed use upon public services and facilities such as water supply, sewage disposal, police and fire protection, emergency services, and roadways. Where necessary, describe how such expansion or improvements will be funded and accomplished. Are there any public services that are of concern to you with regard to this application?
I'm not the sewer engineer for this township, but I'm aware of sanitary sewerage needs in the township and the requirements. So that would probably be the one of most concern. Typically, information from the township sewer consultant, the municipal authority, DEP regarding 537 planning would be addressed, and detailed information provided so that what that concept may or may not be, whether it's on-site, off-site spray, pump stations, grinder pumps, all different factors, gravity, how that's going to be constructed and what the feasibility of it is. So again, very limited information, but I don't want to step on the toes of another township consultant either.
Sure. But in general, in your experience as a municipal engineer, would that kind of information generally be developed, at least conceptual feasibility at this stage,
Yes.
and not delayed until land development plan?
Yeah, a detailed design would come later, but conceptual and planning aspects would be known now, yes.
Item G is that the applicant shall establish that the proposed use reflects an environmentally sensitive approach to land planning and design based on thorough site analysis and evaluation related to topography, soils, vegetation, hydrology, visual quality, and related site conditions and characteristics. In your experience, has the information provided to date constituted a thorough site analysis and evaluation?
No.
Has there been any topo information provided?
Survey topography has not been provided. It's been limited, I believe, to just GIS type information.
Same thing with soils?
Soils, there was a soils investigation provided, so there was some limited soils information provided, perk tests.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but the soils map provided demonstrated that, we'll look at it together, but would you agree that the hydric soils on the property constitute about 85% of the site?
Potentially, yes. And one other aspect that seems to be missing would be a wetlands analysis, something that clarifies if there are not wetlands on the property. Again, just the location of the property, the soil types, adjacent properties, the 3 different streams. Typically, a wetlands investigation would be something that would be done as well.
As you know, we're operating under an ordinance that says in the absence of a wetland study, hydric soils are presumed to be wetlands. Is that accurate?
Correct. Certain soils, yes.
Yes. And then if those soils were in fact wetlands, there would yet be an additional setback requirement.
Correct. Yeah, that would be a further limitation on possible development.
Which would be a 100-foot riparian buffer district.
Amongst other requirements, yes.
As an engineer, are you satisfied that the applicant has conducted the necessary research and presentation to demonstrate feasibility of meeting these requirements?
As the plan is proposed, no.
Item H is that, it's lengthy, I apologize. The applicant shall provide evidence with supporting documentation that adequate screening and buffering is provided between the lands in question and surrounding uses to screen the conditional use from view and preclude any glare from lighting or noise being ascertainable beyond the boundaries of the property, period, where, in the opinion of the Board of Supervisors, the proposed screening and/or buffering required by the township ordinances is insufficient, additional screening and/or buffering may be required. Simple first question is, has any landscape plan, even conceptual one, been provided?
Yeah, I would, a conceptual landscape plan was provided. There's a plan that has a bunch of circles shown on it, but very limited in that, it doesn't speak to, is it an evergreen, is it deciduous, what is it, what is it buffering, what is it not buffering? I believe that was in one of the first renditions, based on the revisions, the potential road location. So again, a lot of screening and buffering questions and code requirements are going to be challenging to meet.
Item I is the applicant shall demonstrate that the proposed use will be properly sited and not disruptive to existing topography, streams and ponds, vegetation or other natural resources, especially within the areas subject to floodplain regulations. There is, I believe on the plan, a very small area of floodplain.
Yes.
Southern area.
Correct.
But even aside from that, can you comment on the concept of this project not being disruptive to existing topography and streams?
Well, I mean, the property in of itself, for the plan provided, and the engineer indicates 3 watercourses, 3 streams on this property. 2 of which some of the buffers are being maintained, 1 of which none of the buffers are being maintained. So I certainly would not be able to say that it's not disruptive to existing streams when those buffers, riparian buffers that are in this municipal code, are not being maintained.
I guess that would be an okay time to direct your attention to what's been pre-marked as Exhibit T12. You have that?
Yes.
Was this prepared by your office at my request?
This was, the colored lines on top of the existing plan that was prepared by the applicant.
Yes, for the record, this is a copy of the applicant's proposed sketch plan as modified by you in color.
Correct.
What's the, can you tell us what the colored lines represent?
Yeah, very simply, the blue line going top to bottom on that plan is the stream watercourse in the middle of this site. The red lines extending out from that, both west and east, are the 50 and 100-foot riparian buffer requirements per the code. The original plan had indicated this as a stream, but had not indicated this as a watercourse stream, but had not indicated those riparian buffers. As it does for the other 2 streams on the property, this one did not have those. So this just highlights what those buffer requirements would be for this middle stream.
To be clear, that center north-south watercourse was indicated on the applicant's plans, was it?
It's on the plans they provided and the reports they provided, correct?
Yeah, but just not the riparian setbacks from there.
Correct. For that middle middle stream.
Yes. Then on the second page, if one highlights all of the both inner and outer riparian buffer zones on the property, is that accurately depicted in yellow on the second page?
Yes, that's an approximation of areas that would be constrained by those various riparian buffers.
Thank you. It's an approximation. Why?
I'm sorry, say it again?
It's only an approximation.
Well, it's an approximation because no topography, no survey has been completed, so we're assuming those stream locations are correct. Second is the way the code states is that it's from the top of bank, so this is really from the artificial center line. So it's probably actually wider and further on all the various riparian buffers, so it's an estimation.
Thank you. Item J relates to historic resources, and I believe your review letter acknowledged that there are no historic resources within 300 feet of the proposed project?
Correct. The applicant had indicated there's none within 300 feet, so this requirement would be met.
Or not applicable?
Or not applicable. Yeah.
Yep. Item K is that the proposed use will be developed using effective stormwater management techniques and soil erosion and sedimentation control techniques. Was a report provided? Have you been able to reach a conclusion as the engineer that that's feasible to accomplish?
The narrative simply, parroted this comment and said that, effective stormwater techniques will be utilized, but no clarification, no locations, no design, no, again, extremely high level circles on a plan was all that was provided. So certainly cannot confirm that, the stormwater can be effectively designed. Again, with all those constraints we've already talked about, streams, potential wetlands, soils, which their report indicates do not drain well. It's highly likely, based on my experience, relief and waivers would be necessary, and challenges on getting permits from DEP would probably exist. Though, again, all feasible, but certainly challenges, relief, waivers, things of that nature would be necessary based on the limited information provided so far.
And I believe their own engineer made similar comments that that there might be more difficulty getting DEP approvals than even from the township.
I think he was representing the DEP, maybe a higher standard than the township, something along those lines.
Thank you. That's the 11 criteria under the ordinance section. From your engineering perspective, has the applicant provided sufficient information to demonstrate that the criteria and standards of this ordinance section have been met? Those are the words of the ordinance, have been met.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied that evidence has been presented that it is feasible to meet these criteria?
No.
I'd like to draw your attention to your review letter and the applicant's responses to that review letter, which are in the exhibits as applicant's exhibit A21. Yeah. Let me see.
I'm sorry, Ed, did you say A19?
I apologize.
So he said A21.
A21.
21. Luke, do you have the ability to?
Or if I may, if we have the extra packet for Carl, maybe I could borrow?
Yes.
It's not in our packet, it's an applicant's exhibit.
Oh, okay.
I think it's in the notebook.
that's yours.
I'm sorry, can we go off the record for a moment?
Yes, please.
We can use Carl's.
So I'm not going to go through all of your 42 comments. You're welcome. But I have to draw your attention to some of the more significant ones. I counted, of the 42 comments, 29 of them where the answer was essentially, this item, quote, will be addressed during land development phase, unquote.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can we just clarify that A21 is a copy of A20, but in red, there's text in red, which I presume to be the response of the applicant to A20. Is that correct?
Yes, mine does not have red color, but I believe as to each numbered item, the last response is the response of the applicant.
So your copy doesn't have red text?
No,
So are you A20 or A21?
no, I'm on A21, which is the applicant's responses to the numbered items.
For example, in item number 1 under zoning, do you have text that says noted, period, applicant does not anticipate disturbing this area and will be addressed during land development phase?
Yes, I have,
His might have just been copied without a color printer.
Right.
yes, I have that text.
And that word and sentence I just read, that is the applicant's response to A20, is that correct?
I think that Mr. Klein can certainly opine or testify to that, yes? It's not your commentary, in other words.
Correct. The red information or the follow-up information to my letter is from the applicant's team responding to the comments of my January 30th letter.
And what you, Mr. Foley, are considering A21, that tracks with what Mr. Revan has projected upon the screen?
Yes,
Was A21 provided to Pannoni by the applicant?
Yeah, I mean, we had this at the last hearing, or at least 2 hearings ago.
I only asked that because typically there would be a letter on the applicant's letterhead responding to your comments.
It's unique in how it was provided to us, is, yeah,
Okay.
if that's the question.
But this A21 was sent to Pannoni
Was sent
from
to,
the applicant's consultant.
I can't confirm that's how we got it, and I cannot confirm who wrote it.
Okay. Well, I think it's important. I think it's important to understand, if it's true, that the red text is a response by the applicant to Pannoni's comments. Is that correct?
I believe Mr. Klein just testified to that, and so I have no reason to dispute
That is
it.
my understanding. Again, I don't know who wrote it.
Mr. Klein did not write it. I can certainly put the applicant's authorized representative on the stand to confirm that it was the engineering consultant of applicant that provided the commentary in red, if you would prefer.
Well, I don't recall. At some point during the previous testimony and hearing sessions, somebody must have testified about
Yes.
A21.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's
So
already been,
that document's
as-
already been identified, and hopefully somebody told us what the red text represents.
it's been a long road, yes.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Excuse the interruption. Please.
Thank you. It's helpful for the record especially. So, Mr. Klein, again, I'm not going to run through the whole letter, but hitting some highlights. The second comment that you had made was about the number of water courses that appear to be on the subject property. And since this review letter was issued and responded to, we now have the applicant's own consultant's report reciting that there are in fact 3 distinct watercourses through the property.
Well, I would only object to the fact that I don't believe Mr. Klein did testify that there were 3 distinct watercourses. To the contrary, I think that the T12 or T11 exhibit only demonstrated 1.
Yeah, I'm asking about actually a different exhibit. Mr. Klein, have you reviewed what is exhibit T18, which is the expert report for Three Creeks LLC, prepared by Boyer Engineering LLC?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did you say T18?
You meant to say A18, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just want to make sure that the record is clear.
Thank you. A for applicant, 18. And near the end, on what I've counted to be the 16th page, is the signature page of Phil Scheibel, Scheibel, SEO, professional soil scientist. I apologize. That's a misstatement. May I direct your attention to page 2 of Exhibit A18. It's the report prepared by Boyer Engineering. And you recall reading the second paragraph on the second page,
Second paragraph, second page, yes.
confirming the property has the 3 distinct watercourses traversing the property.
Correct, yeah. The engineer's report states the property has 3 distinct watercourses traversing the property, which is consistent with the plans provided.
So your initial review letter in raising that issue has now been answered, has it not?
Correct.
Your understanding that the proposal to deal with the 3rd watercourse is to simply pipe it underground and eliminate the riparian buffers around it?
I believe that's what they indicated, yes.
And then the response ends with, we'll address that at land development.
Correct.
Your 4th comment, back to Exhibit A21. 4th comment noted that the riparian corridor is to be measured from the top of each stream bank. Has a topographic study been provided that would allow you to measure riparian buffers from the tops of the banks?
No.
Response concludes with, this will be completed in more detail during land development phase.
Yes.
Your 5th comment addresses the likelihood or possibility, I should say, that additional riparian corridors may be required if the site contains, in addition to other watercourses, wetlands. And has there been a wetlands study provided?
No.
Response concludes with, applicant will provide a full wetlands report in the land development phase,
Yes.
as required by code, it says.
Yes.
Your comment number 6 talks about the preservation of existing vegetation and restoration of the first 50 feet of an impacted riparian corridor. Has any information been provided to show how existing vegetation would be either preserved or restored in the inner riparian buffers?
No, and again, with the central or the middle stream is indicated essentially not protecting that riparian corridor in any way.
Neither protected nor restored.
Correct, that's fair.
Yep. Your comment number 7 addresses the issue of what land uses are permitted within the outer 50 feet of the riparian buffer. And we understand that the applicant is requesting some relief from those ordinance sections.
Yes, I believe they indicated they anticipate modifications from certain sections of the code.
Right? And again, that their response concludes with applicant will address during the land development phase and says it's not required for the approval of this non-engineered general layout per the ordinance.
Correct, yeah, I think it clarifies the plan has not been engineered.
Yes. Do you agree that no wetlands delineation is required at this stage of the proceedings?
No, I don't necessarily just agree with that. I think there's enough evidence of this parcel and the areas adjacent that an initial wetlands investigation would have been pertinent, and as part of due diligence for the development of this site, could have helped to lay out the site in an appropriate manner.
That leads me to direct your attention to your comment number 12, which begins with a wetlands examination and delineation shall be provided, and citing to the appropriate ordinance section. In the absence of a wetlands delineation, am I correct that there is an ordinance requirement? I believe it's section 399-13.1. B, parentheses 2, parentheses little a, brackets 4, brackets 6. I apologize, but that's for the record. Requiring that in the absence of a wetland delineation, the wetlands boundary shall be assumed to be the hydric soil boundary as mapped in the most recent soil survey of Chester County. Do you recall reviewing that ordinance section?
Yes, that's correct, and that has not been done with this plan.
Then directing your attention to the soils map provided by the applicant is the 7th page of Exhibit A18. My black and white copy is difficult to read, but it's page showing the soils mapping. Have that?
Yes,
Okay. In the approximate center of the site appears the soil type designator, capital C, small p, capital B, which in the report is identified as Cokesbury silt loam,
that's correct.
which is identified as a hydric soil. Do you agree that, without measuring, approximately 85% of the site is shown to be that soils type?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could conservatively estimate 2/3 of that site would be covered with, based on the NCRS mapping, 2/3 of the site would be Cokesbury silt loam.
Thank you. And then applying the ordinance's requirement of the assumption that that hydric soil boundary is wetlands, would there then be an additional 100-foot riparian buffer measured from the edge of that soils type?
Correct, and there would be additional 50 to 100-foot riparian buffers extended from that as well.
By the time you add that and deduct required setbacks from the property lines, would it be fair to conclude that under that assumption, pretty much the entire site is assumed today to be wetlands or riparian buffers?
Correct, with the lack of that information or that clarification, that's the assumption that the code directs you to make.
Your comment number 21, oh, I apologize. The conclusion of that comment, which was number 12 from your letter, was the applicant will address during land development phase, period.
Correct.
Your comment number 21, references ordinance section that we just went through earlier this evening, and states that you have concerns with the proposed site's ability to meet the standards and criteria of that section, and then identifies a couple of specific concerns that you had. The second of which was that the applicant demonstrate that the proposed site will be properly sited and not disruptive to existing topography, streams and ponds, vegetation, and other natural resources that we discussed a few minutes ago. In response to that comment, was any additional information provided
No.
about the non-disruption of natural resources?
No additional information was provided. It was essentially punted again to the land development phase.
Two more. Your comment number 24 raised the issue of the ordinance section requiring supporting credible evidence with supporting documentation about the capacity of the road system and intersections. By that, were you suggesting that a traffic study would have to be provided at this stage?
I wasn't suggesting that. I think that's what the code indicates.
Well, it at least requires, let me quote it.
Well, I'm sorry, yeah, traffic impact study might be the terminology our industry uses for that.
Yeah. So probably not a full traffic study at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, it could be more of a limited study or analysis.
Yeah.
There's a few different ways to go about it, but none of those have been provided.
And lastly, your comment number 36 near the end. Raises the issue of feasibility of meeting the township's stormwater management requirements. And, I believe we had already looked at the applicant's Exhibit A18. If we didn't, I'll direct your attention back to it. This is the one I started to refer to earlier. You read the applicant's consultant's report concluding on the 16th page above the signature of Mr. Scheibel that, quote, "In general, the site is poorly suited for stormwater infiltration." To finish reading it, appropriate formulas and factors of safety should be applied to these field rates test pit evaluation sheets and infiltration test field report are attached to this letter. In response to your concern about the ability to infiltrate stormwater, has any additional information been provided?
No.
Are you satisfied that that item in the ordinance, that the proposed use can be developed using effective stormwater management techniques and soil erosion and sedimentation control techniques, that the feasibility of that has been demonstrated?
It is not, no. And in fact, it's probably been demonstrated that it can't.
In your experience, is it usual and customary for a conditional use application to respond to a township engineer's comments, with 29 out of 42 of the responses being that they'll address the conditional use requirements at the time of land development?
No, that's not standard.
In particular, is it usual and customary for a conditional use applicant to respond to the comment items that are specifically required under the criteria for conditional use approval, with the response that we'll address that at land development stage?
No, that's not typical.
As a result of all of that, do you have a professional opinion as to whether the applicant has demonstrated the feasibility of developing this property as a 21 townhouse unit development?
I do not believe it's been demonstrated as a 21-unit development.
And in view of the presumption under the ordinance that all of the hydric soils are, at least for now, presumed to be wetlands, coupled with a riparian buffer setback of 100 feet, 100 additional feet from that boundary, do you have a professional opinion as to whether the applicant has demonstrated the ability to develop even one townhouse unit?
I think you could certainly make an argument that it might not be feasible.
That's all I have.
Any cross-examination, Ms. Dunn?
Was thinking about it. Just give me one moment, please.
Take your time.
Good evening, Mr. Klein.
Evening?
So following up on the questions that Mr. Foley asked of you, and specifically referring to, I believe was marked Township Exhibit T11. I'd like to ask the board, as an administrative matter, it does appear, Mr. Foley, that this is just an extraction of the comprehensive plan. Would the board be willing to take judicial notice or acknowledgement of the entire comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Klein, were you the township engineer for East Brandywine Township in 2022?
It's a good question. I believe I was, yes.
I believe you were too.
Yeah, I'm trying, 2025, yeah, I was here.
Do you recall the first year that Hanoni began to serve as the township engineer consultant for East Brandywine Township?
I don't know what year that was, sorry.
But certainly 2022 for the drafting and resolution of this comprehensive plan update, correct?
Wasn't a question there. Is the question?
You certainly were the consultant as of 2022, at the very least.
I was the township engineer. I was not the consultant for this project.
Okay, did you participate at all in the devise of the 2022 comprehensive plan update?
I don't believe I did. I don't recall being part of that.
So is it your testimony that the township did not consult its civil engineer for its 2022 comprehensive plan update?
That's certainly possible.
Okay? Do you think that,
I think it's, if I could just opine, I'm one of, many engineers with this township, with certain roles.
certainly, I mean, let's elaborate on that. Whom else serves as a consultant, an engineering consultant for the township for purposes of things like the development of a comprehensive plan or a comprehensive plan update?
Sewer engineer, traffic engineer, things of that nature.
Okay. Is there any other civil engineer that the township employs as a consultant, to your knowledge?
Yes.
And who would that be?
They've had Cedarville, Arrow, have been engineers for the township in different capacities.
And have they been consultants for the township? To your knowledge, what is the distinction between your role as township engineer consultant and Cedarville or Arrow?
Different but similar roles in various projects, but
I mean, can you be specific for one moment?
I-
Can you just give me a for instance?
sure. I think Pinoni would take the lead on land development projects, whereas one of the other firms might take the lead on smaller stormwater lot permits, things of that nature.
Public road improvements, things like that?
We do some, they do some,
Okay.
but we are not the appointed township planner for the township.
Would you agree with me that if we refer to page 2 of T11, there is no engineer that is acknowledged as having assisted in developing this comprehensive plan update?
There's 3 planners that are noted, but again, I didn't prepare this document, so I don't know if an engineer was consulted.
And the 3 planners who are noted are whom?
Thomas Committee Associates Incorporated, Brandywine Conservancy, and the Chester County Planning Commission.
Okay. And those are 3 entities, would you agree?
Sure.
Do you have any knowledge of whom specifically from these 3 entities was involved in the development of the 2022 comprehensive plan update?
I do not.
And do you know, from your knowledge of the township and these entities, in what capacity they would have participated in this update?
I do not.
What is, in your estimation, the purpose of a comprehensive plan?
Again, I'm not a planner, I'm an engineer.
But you testified, and I think that your CV aptly notes that you have been for some time a municipal civil engineer, correct?
Sure.
And in the course of your profession as a municipal civil engineer, are you familiar with comprehensive plans, municipal comprehensive plans?
Familiar, yes.
And can you, just in your own opinion, state what the purpose is?
This purpose is, again, long-term planning goals and objectives for a municipality.
Long-term planning goals and objectives.
And I would include short-term. I mean, it's the,
Long-term and
Yeah.
short-term. And when a township or municipality, borough, whatever, derives its long-term and short-term goals, do those goals have to meet ordinance standards per the township?
I do not believe it would be township ordinance standards. I believe there is direction from the municipality's planning code for comprehensive plans.
Would it make sense, for example, for a township to refute its own code in furtherance of its long-term or short-term objectives.
Oftentimes, comprehensive plans, the goals or objectives might be code amendments, code revisions, changes to zoning, changes to policy. Those are all outcomes of a comprehensive plan.
But in terms of infrastructure, in terms of actual development, land development, is a township permitted, if you know, to go against its own code in terms of its own development plans or infrastructure plans?
I'm going to object. It was asked and answered.
Well,
I'm not
I
very
don't think it
following.
has been. I'll give you an example. If there's an area of steep slopes that is prohibitive, for example, could a township, without amending its code, simply put a road through prohibitive steep slopes?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. Without amending its code, you mean ordinances or the comprehensive plan?
Without amending its code.
Code meaning what?
Code meaning zoning ordinance, land development ordinance.
I think there's 1,000 variables in that hypothetical that I just would not be comfortable answering.
There are 1,000 variables. Okay. Are you aware of any objective, long-term or short-term, of East Brandywine Township for the property that we're here discussing this evening in its comprehensive plan?
I believe the comprehensive plan, the official map, Guthriesville Village plan had indicated an East Reesville Road extension either through, near, adjacent to this property. Various documents, various planning documents over the years.
So various documents over the years have designated this property as situationally important for the development of an East Reesville Extension Road.
I mean, those are your words. I would indicate, I don't know that I would agree with how you worded that. Again,
I mean, you can word it however
yeah, I
you
mean,
want,
I would word it how I just previously said it.
which is adjacent to, relevant to.
Yeah, either on or adjacent or nearby for the East Reesville Road extension.
And in the township's evaluation of this property as appropriate or adjacent appropriate to the extension of the East Reesville Road, was there ever a traffic study performed by the township to evaluate the potential viability of this property for that extension?
Yeah, an analysis was done, whether it was I guess it was a traffic study. A coworker of mine completed years ago that was trying to establish a potential cost if that East Reesville Road extension was pursued. Again, at a kind of a concept level, more detailed than the information we have here for this project, but trying to establish costs for that potential road.
And what year was that?
I do not know that off the top of my head.
Okay, but it was performed by Pannoni
Correct.
at the request of the township.
Correct.
And do you recall what the cost was derived at whatever time it was?
The cost for the construction of the road?
Correct.
I mean, I want to, all the different projects blend together. I feel like it was in like the $6 million range or something of that nature, but I hesitate to say because I'm sure it's in that document somewhere, but it wasn't $100,000 and it wasn't 25 million. I mean, it was.
And since that,
And you were not-
excuse me, I'm going to object. Since that's an exhibit
Oh, is it? Okay.
in this matter, can we direct his attention to it and
Certainly.
help him have an accurate answer?
Sure. Yeah, does he have the full, look at it?
Don't know what number.
That's your number 45?
We can blow it up on the screen as well.
Take 1 second.
No, that's not what that is. Where is it? It's 46.
I don't have a 46, so I'd have
I
to
can
look at something
show it
else.
to you. Hold on just one second. Do you have it, Luke?
Luke is pulling it up. I would like to think that might be in the first page or two. Sometimes it's buried at the end, but
Okay. And if you can see what Mr. Revin has put up on the screen, I know
What
it's
exhibit number is that?
46,
46.
A46.
Okay, thank you.
Would you agree with me that this is dated October 2023?
Correct.
Okay. So fewer than 2 years ago.
Sure.
And did the Township commission Pannoni to perform this transportation study in 2023 as an actuary simply for cost appraisal or for engineering as well and feasibility?
I would determine more cost and feasibility.
More cost than feasibility?
More cost.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'm gonna,
And
it's hard with him not having a copy. Mr. Revin, is it convenient for you to pull up Appendix B? I'm not sure what page it would be. It's not really numbered. I'd say it's about 1/10 of the way through. Well, why don't I do this? Can I approach the witness?
Of course.
I'm going to show you what is Appendix B. And you agree with me that that is traffic count data?
Appendix B is titled Traffic Count Data, correct.
And that is for the East Reesville Road extension in East Brandywine Township, correct?
Correct.
And would you agree with me that Appendix B is exactly what it is noted to be, which is a traffic count data spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. And that does not involve the cost of the road, correct? Just turning movement data and similar data, turning movement peak hour data for the township at the location of this property.
I believe at various locations, not just this property.
But it includes this property.
It includes the intersection at East Reesville and Bondsville.
Okay. Which includes this property, correct?
Portions of, yes.
Yes, okay. And is there any reason why the traffic count data that was performed by your firm in October of 2023 would not be relevant to the property today?
I could not speak to that. I do not know.
Why do you not know?
I'm not a traffic engineer. I can't analyze the numbers. I don't know the assumptions that were made.
Stop.
And then, as I said, my coworker is a traffic engineer who prepared that report.
And who is that?
Michael Schneider.
You testified earlier that you've never been upon the property, but you've been near the property or the property perimeter to observe the property. To your knowledge, has there been any major development or change to the surrounding area of the property since October of 2023 that would substantially impact the study that was performed by your firm?
Well, obviously, the Weaver Tract has been under construction, which is a very large residential development. The Plank McCausland Tract is under development and being constructed. I don't want to assume anything, but typically when those reports are completed, it projects future projects and outcomes and developments.
And you would agree with me that the Weaver Tract and the McCausland Tract plan approvals were issued prior to October of 2023, correct?
I don't know that for a fact.
Assuming that they were, would you agree with me that those development considerations were taken into account by your firm when you performed this study for East Brandywine Township?
Object. It calls for an assumption.
I mean, I would ask the township to just take notice of when these land development approvals were affected. I know for my part that I participated in the Weaver Tract, and I believe those were acquired prior to COVID, so 2020.
Well, the township has records of when both the developments mentioned were preliminarily and finally approved. What I'm concerned about is Mr. Klein is not the author.
Is what?
He's not the author. He didn't prepare,
His firm did.
but he wasn't directly involved in it, so he's not really qualified to answer questions about it.
Mr. Klein, when you reviewed the applicant's conditional use application for the preparation of your review letter at A18, Exhibit A18, and consequentially A21, did you take into consideration at all the traffic study that was prepared by your firm for the intersection of this property in October of 2023?
No,
Would you accept that this is relevant to your evaluation of the conditional use application at issue?
unknown. I do not know that.
Do you have any reason to doubt the authenticity, sufficiency, or accuracy of the traffic study prepared by your firm in October of 2023?
No, I do not.
When you were discussing the criteria for conditional use applications with Mr. Foley, let me just pull it up here. We went through A, B, and then C, which relates to the, excuse me, 399-137D1, small c, that the proposed conditional use is consistent with neighboring uses and will not detract from or cause harm to neighboring properties. It says the proposed conditional use. Would you agree with me if that's what that says? Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, can you be more specific? Question?
Sure. I think that you started to discuss stormwater management and how that might affect other properties, but that's not what C says, correct? It says the proposed use is consistent with the neighboring uses. Would you agree with me that the character of use as 21 townhomes is not inconsistent with the surrounding properties?
I think that's very reasonable, yes.
Thank you. All right, and then moving on to D, which deals with stages and phases. Would you agree with me that not every project, particularly one as minimal and low impact as the proposed 21 townhomes, involves stages and phases?
That's reasonable, that's fair.
Nor has there been any indication, to your knowledge, that the applicant contemplates executing this plan in stages or phases, correct?
Correct, but I'll let Mr. Foley tackle that as needed.
Okay. Would you agree with me that this plan would not be appropriate for the other things contemplated in subsection D, recreational facilities, passive open spaces, trails, and things of that nature?
Can you ask that question again?
Would you agree with me that the size and scale of this development does not contemplate or require recreational facilities, passive open space areas, trails?
No, I don't believe I would agree with you on that.
Okay, which of those would this type of proposed plan require?
This plan is going to require potentially some sort of open space, passive or common open space scenario. I think the comprehensive plan, the Guthriesville Village Plan, contemplates trails and pedestrian connections. And other public improvements. We have sanitary sewer that's going to be needed. We've got road improvements that may be needed, such as PennDOT could require an acceleration lane, a deceleration lane. We're going to need culverts for the 3 different streams. So
Sure, I didn't mean,
Okay.
I don't think at least I purposely did not refer to public improvements or roadways.
okay,
I'm only talking about trails recreational facilities,
I think the
things of that
plan,
nature?
yeah, and I think the plan shows an amenity area and some common open space areas, things of that nature.
Okay. And so the plan does propose those things?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were speaking with Mr. Foley about subsection E, with respect to a traffic study, traffic improvements, and that the applicant shall establish with supporting documentation that the road system can provide the capacity sufficient for the plan. You referenced a TPD study. In light of our revisit to Exhibit A46, would you agree with me that that was a Pannoni study?
No, I would not.
Okay, is there another study that was performed by TPD?
Yes, the applicant, I believe in the first submission, included, again, if I recall this correctly, it was the Plank-McCausland traffic impact study that was performed by Traffic Planning Design for that project.
So when you referred to the McCausland tract, this traffic study by TPD was relevant to that, correct?
Correct.
And did you review that
As part of this submission?
in coordination with this submission?
No.
Is there a reason why not?
It wasn't germane to this submission, wasn't prepared by Traffic Planning Design for this submission, did not specifically address road improvements or traffic improvements on Bondsville or East Reeseville, did not include any documentation from PennDOT. It almost appeared like it was included by accident.
Okay. Did you review the October 2023 Pannoni traffic study as germane to this application?
No, that was not provided with this application.
Okay, but you would agree that you've been in possession of it and you were aware of its existence at the time that this application was submitted, correct?
If a traffic engineer had supplied a commentary referring to our application or to that report, that's something we could have taken into consideration.
And you would agree that it's part of the exhibits at this hearing, correct, as A46?
I believe you've entered it as an exhibit, yes.
With respect to subsection F, that the applicant shall provide details and documentation regarding the probable demand created by the proposed use upon public services and facilities. You referenced that you testified that DEP would be the relevant party for that particular item, correct?
I don't believe that's exactly what I said. I believe what I said was the Township Sewer Consultant, the Municipal Authority, and DEP.
Okay. And what does conceptual mean to you with respect to that particular subsection?
In regards to specifically sanitary sewer?
Or any proposed public services and facilities?
Well, conceptual would be providing a plan that indicates the township's emergency fire vehicle routing through the site, showing that it can adequately service the site. That would be an example. Regarding sanitary sewer, would include, is this going to be on-site disposal, off-site disposal, gravity, force mains, pumps, those things would all be information that typically would be provided.
And in your estimation, in your experience, is it typical at a conditional use level of application and approval for an applicant to have already consulted with DEP regarding, it is?
Yeah, typically there'd be a project of this size, but with the complications of the streams and the locations, typically we would complete a pre-application meeting with DEP and the Chester County Conservation District so that we, for our developer or our municipality, could determine what potential permits would be necessary, what kind of hurdles might be out there, potential endangered species, other things that might impact the potential layout of the project.
I'm sorry, did you say endangered species?
Yes, you would complete a PNDI, which would tell you if there's any endangered species in the area, such as a bog turtle.
But F does not refer to a PINDY, does it?
It does not, no.
No. And it doesn't refer to endangered species or any species, does it?
It does not say that, no.
Okay. If you could turn for me to Applicant's Exhibit 16. I just want to make sure that you had seen this exhibit that was submitted at an earlier hearing. For the record, it is a February 20th, 2025 communication from Vincent D'Amico, who is the fire chief for East Brandywine Fire Company. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
Can you repeat the date of that? That's not the date on my copy.
February 20th, 2025?
Exhibit 16.
Yes.
Mine says Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. I'm looking at your book of exhibits for the amended application.
16?
Yes. And it relates to the circle on the original plan.
I mean, we did walk through this previously with other witnesses, so I'm sure that you have it, but I don't know what's organized.
Thank you.
This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, may I have a copy of that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then turning back to exhibit A15.
Wait a minute, do you want to show the witness? You asked him whether he's familiar with it.
Did you see it?
I feel like you called the exhibit, but then there was no questions.
Oh, I just wanted to know I just wanted you to acknowledge it on the record, that was from the township's fire chief.
It appears to be, yes.
Do you have any reason to question its authenticity?
Well, I mean, it doesn't appear that anybody else on the township was copied. There's a section that says, in brackets, quoted text hidden. It doesn't indicate which plan was submitted to the fire marshal, so I don't know what plan he reviewed. So I certainly have a few questions about it, not to dispute the fire marshal by any stretch, but it seems to be lacking in detail.
All right, well, I will,
I'm sorry, I think it's worth clarifying. He indicates the proposed turning radius plans are acceptable to the fire company. Again, I don't believe any turning radius plans were submitted with this application that I can recall.
certainly, I would only submit as a matter of discourse that this was introduced as an exhibit by our witnesses. It was not questioned at that time, but certainly if the township questions the authenticity through its consultant, we will endeavor to call the fire chief in rebuttal or for clarification.
Yeah, again, I don't think I can question the authenticity. I think I just questioned the detail of it.
Sure, and I would like it to be clarified for everyone, so that's fine. Referring back one exhibit to A15, with respect to other public improvements such as sewage disposal, have you ever seen A15 prior to this hearing?
No.
Are you familiar with any of the townships?
Sorry, exhibit A15.
Yes.
This titled Table 5.2, Alternate A, Public Sewer ATP, correct?
Yeah,
I got it.
Table 5.2, yes, alternate A, public sewer ATP. There is a line on this page that is in yellow highlight that indicates Winter's Track. Do you see that?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that what is referred to on this exhibit as the Winter's Track is in fact the tract that is relevant to the application that we are here for?
It indicates 21 units. This plan has 21 units. I don't have any reason to think otherwise.
And do you acknowledge that this is a Township Municipal Authority created document?
I'm going to object. We've covered this with the township manager, and this is certainly beyond the scope of direct.
Well, it's not. You called into
The
question.
objection's overruled. If you know the answer.
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking who prepared it? I don't know who prepared it.
Okay. Assuming that this is, we've been through this.
I don't recall who prepared it if it was mentioned. I apologize.
Okay. It's a municipal authority of East Brandywine Township document that makes a specific treatment capacity and demand allocation to this tract for 21 units. Is that sufficient?
I object to the characterization. It's not consistent with what Mr. Raven testified to.
I think the document speaks for itself, so I'm going to characterize it that way. It makes an allocation under units for 21 units on the Winters tract. Would you agree with me that the township's municipal authority allocation for 21 units is sufficient to satisfy the requirements of subsection F
I don't
in
speak,
terms of sewage disposal?
Ms. Dunn, I appreciate that, but I do not speak for the municipal authority or the sewer engineer, so I just don't know.
I'm not saying that you speak for them. What I'm saying is if they allocated 21 units of public sewage disposal to this tract, is that sufficient in your mind to meet the requirements for public sewage under subsection F?
Potentially, yes.
Renew my
Thank
objection.
you. Potentially, yes.
Renew my objection. That's not what the testimony and the facts and evidence
Understood.
are.
But
With respect to subsection G, can you explain to me what environmentally sensitive means and whom determines what it means?
I believe this is part of the conditional use, so ultimately the board will make that determination as part of their conditional use determination.
Would you agree with me that environmentally sensitive is not a term that's defined in the township's code?
I do not know that.
Have you ever noticed the term in the township's code other than this subsection?
I would have to look at the definitions of the various code sections.
So the board can determine what environmentally sensitive means, meaning it's a subjective approach?
I think environmentally sensitive could certainly mean different things to different people, but I think in this code, there's a lot of language regarding hydric soils, wetlands, floodplains, flood hazard areas, riparian corridors, protecting riparian corridors,
But
et
it
cetera.
doesn't say, but subsection G does not speak with respect to any of those
It
things.
says soils, it says hydrology,
Right.
right?
Based upon thorough site analysis and evaluation related to.
Testified has not been thorough.
But I'm saying, with respect to environmentally sensitive, we're not speaking of the specific requirements with respect to topography, soils, and vegetation and hydrology, correct?
Correct. This is a general conditional use requirement.
And what does visual quality mean?
Sorry, I need my reading glasses now, it's getting late. Visual quality, again, screening, buffering as referred to before, vistas looking at the site from different properties, things of that nature typically are what's considered visual quality.
But you would agree with me that subsection H addresses screening and buffering, correct?
Correct.
So what does visual quality mean in
Again, I
subsection
think
G?
when you look at something like the Guthrie Village District and the amenities, the design, the visual guidelines that this TND also requires that were provided by the applicant, those are the type of things that start formulating that visual quality.
And is that also a subjective determination?
I think there's requirements in our code regarding the design guidelines.
And what does the term related site conditions and characteristics mean? How is an applicant to meet that standard?
Say it again?
Related site conditions and characteristics.
Again, I think if there's a unique site characteristic or condition, it would need to be addressed.
And that would be subjective, determined by whom?
It could be, again, if some of the information was completed, such as a wetlands analysis, endangered species, permitting aspects, things of that nature, there could be multiple different paths there,
Permitting aspects?
potentially.
And what kind of permits would be required prior to the grant of a conditional use or submission of a land development application?
That's not what I said.
Well, no, we're talking about the conditional use application criteria. So I'm asking what permit requirements are anticipated within that umbrella?
What permits would be anticipated for this project?
No, within the criteria for a conditional use application.
Again, I don't think we've got enough information to even know what permits are going to be needed for this project.
But are there permits required for a conditional use application?
Or not, no.
Okay, thank you. Now, you acknowledge that the township has anticipated this particular property as appropriate, or at least one of the appropriate areas for the extension of East Reesville Road. In determining that this property was an appropriate location for that extension, did the township itself undertake any topographical study or analysis to determine that that was an appropriate piece of property for that extension?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Is that typical in your experience as a municipal engineer for a township to designate a property for a road extension without undertaking topographical surveys or analysis?
In regards to such as an official map, yeah, that's very typical. Or a comprehensive plan for that matter.
And similarly, did the township undertake any evaluation of the wetlands areas as you referred to them upon the property with respect to their anticipated use of the property as an extension road?
I believe, yes, I believe the concept plan for that road contemplated several culverts due to the presence of streams and wetlands.
The township generated a concept plan for the extension.
To determine the potential cost for that extension, as you discussed.
But not just for the cost. I know you're saying they did determine that there were areas that needed certain engineering for road, water runoff, culverts, things of that
We
nature.
can't estimate the costs unless we anticipate what potentially could be needed. Seeing the various streams, knowing the adjacent wetlands on the Applecross property, we factored that into the potential project so that we can estimate those costs.
And then when was that analysis completed?
October 2023, as we discussed earlier.
Okay, so that was part of the traffic study that you performed for the township. You performed a wetlands analysis?
I did not say that.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just asking.
That's not what you asked. Are you asking
Is
that
there
now?
a wetlands analysis?
No, we did not do a wetlands analysis.
And why would a wetlands analysis not be relevant to the generation of a cost estimate for that extension?
Because again, we were looking at a high-level cost for potential funding purposes for that type of project. And,
As part of your analysis for the township, did you undertake a soil study?
no.
And why not?
Again, high-level concept analysis to determine costs and feasibility. That was all something that would have followed if the township wanted to pursue it further, be it grants or funding or PennDOT. Those are all would have been next steps.
And in terms of the soil feasibility, did you reach any determination, just even based upon the high-level
I don't believe so.
soil designations that you discussed with Mr. Foley earlier?
No.
Do you have an opinion as the township's consultant regarding the feasibility of this site for a road based upon the broad general soil analysis?
Yeah, I mean, the feasibility of a road versus a residence are two different things.
Okay, and specifically what?
The relief that's going to be necessary,
I'm sorry?
the relief that would be necessary from the code
And what do you mean by that?
for what's permitted within the riparian buffers and things of that nature.
Did you advise the township as part of your traffic and cost analysis for the extension road regarding the need for either code amendment or zoning board relief?
No, that was not part of the analysis.
Subsection H, with respect to the screening and buffering, when you testified earlier in response to Mr. Foley's questions, you spoke of conceptual landscaping. Would you agree with me that the applicant in this case provided conceptual landscaping?
I think it's a very thin landscaping plan was provided for only one of the concepts, not the revised concepts, if I recall correctly. And again, as I testified earlier, circles on a plan. No species, no types of trees, no sizes, no information, no spacing, none of the stuff that you would typically see.
And in general, do you expect to see a more specific level of landscape proposal in a conditional use application?
Yeah, certainly would expect to see a more robust plan.
And you said it can be challenging to meet. And so I want to know why you said that.
Look at the context of that. Say it again.
When you were testifying about the provision of a landscaping plan for a conditional use application, you used the term challenging, it can be challenging to meet.
So the way the municipal codes are written, oftentimes there's various setback and screening requirements. For example, it may need to be a 20-foot or 30-foot setback of landscaping screen between townhouses or between different uses or single-family homes. So that complication could add to layout problems for this plan if not interpreted.
With respect to subsection I, which refers to topography, streams, ponds, vegetation, other natural resources, within areas subject to floodplain regulations. In preparing the township analysis in October of 2023 for the East Reeseville extension, did Pannoni, to your knowledge, evaluate the floodplain regulations of the township and where the road could be properly sited and not disruptive to any of those particular features?
Yes.
And what was your conclusion?
The conclusion was the layout that we developed multiple iterations, and that was the layout that we felt was least disruptive.
And I'll point you to page 2 of what I believe is marked as Exhibit T12. It's the sketch plan that has the large yellow highlight area of the subject property.
Okay.
When you were reviewing this exhibit with Mr. Foley, you explained to the board that based upon the blue line through the center of the property, that runs parallel to Bondsville Road, correct?
Correct. Oh, okay, correct.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, more or less.
Yes.
Okay. Parallel? I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were like halfway through that.
Okay. And you testified that the yellow area on T12 are the approximate areas constrained by streams and buffer requirements, basically rendering the property undevelopable. Could you, for me, on my copy of page 2 of T12, approximate for the board where the East Reeseville Extension Road would be proposed through the property?
Is this showing up on there? What are we going? I don't know what the easiest way to do that for everybody is, but it's essentially on the northern property line. I mean, I would say somewhere either centered on or north or south of this property line is the approximate location. And again, a lot more due diligence would need to be done to determine exactly where, but somewhere in this vicinity is the most likely scenario based on other existing properties, wetland streams, and this T intersection here. PennDOT, DEP, property owners, a lot of people would need to be consulted before we'd even be able to take that to the next step.
Right. PennDOT, DEP, and other things would need to be consulted before you take it to the next step. But did you ever advise the township in your analysis, or Pannoni's analysis, to your knowledge, that this property was excluded as an appropriate site for the East Reesville extension?
Excluded?
Excluded as an appropriate site for the East Reesville extension.
I don't believe so.
And you would agree with me that were it employed to accomplish the East Reesville extension, that road would run through some of these yellow areas that have been demonstrated on T12, correct? Yes. And so the township would be able to navigate those impediments with respect to streams and topography and everything else?
Potentially.
Potentially.
A lot more due diligence would need to be done, such as wetland studies and analysis, and determine the feasibility of it, but it's going to be challenging.
Notably, the comprehensive plan amendment or update was issued in 2022, prior to your study in October of 2023, correct?
Okay.
Do you know under what auspices the township designated this site as appropriate for the East Reesville extension prior to the performance of your study?
No.
Moving on to the last subsection K that's relevant, because I believe that you testified that J was not applicable with respect to historic resources. K reads, the proposed use will be developed using effective stormwater management techniques and soil erosion and sedimentation control techniques, correct?
You've read this code section? Yes.
Thank you. And you would agree with me that it says, when it says will be developed, it does not say shall demonstrate. The proposed use plan shall demonstrate the ability to employ effective, it's more or less a request for a declaration, correct?
I mean, I'll defer to Mr. Foley here, but if you go to subsection or heading 1 here, essentially it states that the applicant to provide information to indicate that the required standards and criteria have been met. The board shall require.
I agree with you. But it does say will be developed, correct?
You are reading the code accurately.
Thank you. And you, with respect to that particular subsection, you also discussed DEP approvals and waivers from the board being necessary in some instances to accomplish that particular goal, correct?
Correct.
And would you agree with me that waivers are not a request that is made until land development?
They would not be granted until land development. But
Thank
they might.
And would you agree with me that DEP has a higher standard than the township?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, well, with respect to soils, soil erosion, for example.
I would say we're in a similar, we work concurrently with DEP
Okay.
and Conservation District regulations.
Do you have Exhibit A19 in front of you, Mr. Klein?
I'm sorry, yes?
Okay, thanks. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. For the record, it is a letter dated October 27th of 2023. From Pannoni
Yes.
to the Township Manager of East Brandywine. And I'd ask you to look at page 1 under number 2 beneath zoning.
Okay?
Would you agree with me that this letter to the township manager from Benoni indicates that there are at least 2 water courses, correct?
Yes, that's what the letter says.
And at what point did you come to the conclusion that there were 3 and how?
Based on the engineer providing his report saying there's 3, investigating the site further, looking at the plans indicating 3. Again, there could have been 12. We don't have topography, we don't have a survey. Very limited information was initially provided. As more detailed information was provided, it became clear there was at least 3.
And you would agree with me that October 27th is the very end of the month within the preparation of Benoni's traffic study report that was prepared for the township, correct?
It's the same month, yes.
Did you evaluate this application at any time in tandem with your preparation of that report for the township?
No.
Did you think anything that your firm had prepared for the township in that respect relevant to this application that was submitted very close to your completion of that study?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Did you consider your report that was prepared for the township relevant in any respect to your review of this application that was submitted around the same time?
No, I mean, they're essentially separate issues.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the date on that report is October, but I believe the work effort was done much earlier than that.
And can I ask you, do you know with respect to the code, the township code, what the definition of a water course is?
I don't have the code in front of me. I believe in either one of,
If we're going to explore that, can we get the code in front of us?
Sure, yeah,
I mean, doesn't it speak for itself?
Yeah.
If there is a definition. And when you say code, the township code has 30 chapters
sure.
or more. I don't know how many off the top of my head.
Okay.
So are you talking about a chapter that we call the
Let's call it
zoning ordinance?
399. Let's
Okay.
call it.
Chapter
Let's
399?
call it the zoning ordinance.
Does chapter 399 have a definition of water
Yes.
course? If the witness doesn't know, then he doesn't know.
off the top of my head, I do not know.
So when you refer to a water course in your letter, your review letter at A19, to you, what does that mean? Just to you, subjectively?
Well, no, I mean, in my letter, in my second letter, I clarify water course per the definition of the code in my January letter. I grabbed one of the definitions from the code. In the
I'm sorry, can you show
January
me?
30th letter? Sorry, Exhibit 21, number 3. I believe I grabbed a portion of the code there.
I'm going to pull it up, but I.
Says further, the township's ordinance, section 300-17 defines a water course as, quote, and then it's a quotation.
I'm sorry? Are you talking about Mr. Klein's letter at A20?
It's Exhibit A21.
No, I'm looking at A20. He said his January
No, 21.
30th.
The January 30th letter.
Oh, okay, so
Sorry.
which
They're the same
whichever.
letter, but
That's
yes.
fine, it's the
Yeah.
same letter.
And he quotes a definition
Number
under paragraph 3 under zoning on the first page.
And what is section 300? Does that relate to zoning?
I believe that's the land development code.
And,
I believe so.
It's a definitional chapter of
I'm sorry, got it. East Brandywine is unique, and then that is a separate definitions chapter. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Esty, am I to put you under oath?
I missed that. That's unique to East Brandywine, and how they handle that code.
It's fine. I really do just want the answer on the record, so however we get there is fine with me.
May I
went-
suggest we put the ordinance in as an exhibit then?
I believe that I requested, and I think under the MPC it is in any event.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand what Mr. Klein was referring to, specifically because if you go to the township, section 300-13. Or -17, excuse me, definitions.
Certainly, the board will take judicial notice of the code of the Township of East Brandywine. Chapter 300 is part of the code known as the Land Use Code of East Brandywine Township. And I might not be stating that completely accurately, but Chapter 300 contains the definitions applicable in the Land Use Code.
And specifically, what you referred to reads, a channel or conveyance of surface water having a defined bed and banks, comma, whether natural or artificial, comma, with perennial or intermittent flow. Does that sound
Correct.
familiar? And who determines within the township, is it you or is it another consultant, whether or not anything fits within that definition?
Again, the applicant is indicating there's three, I don't think there's any dispute that there's not three streams. The project's called Three Creeks. The engineers indicated there's 3 water courses, and the plan shows 3 water courses. So I'm confused as to the question, I guess.
Water courses. Well, I'm talking about the specific term water course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Who determines whether or not, for example, there's a defined bed and bank?
again, we do not have a topographic survey here, so again, that clarity has not been provided.
Okay. And was that determination necessary for the generation of a cost estimate for a road that, for all intents and purposes, would run perpendicular to what's been designated as 3 water courses?
It's not, well, first of all, it would not be perpendicular, but that concept included several culverts to address those various water courses.
Wait, when you say, hold on. When I asked you to look at T12 and explain where the conceptual road would go through the property, you said along the northern boundary.
Correct.
Would you not agree with me that that's perpendicular to the stream?
There's 3 different streams.
Yeah, I'm talking about the main one.
Which one's the main one by your
The one
test?
that's on T12.
So you're calling the one going north or south the main stream?
I'm just calling it out as the one that was,
Well, no, you said it was the main stream.
it's the one that was outlined in blue for purposes of the township zoning exhibit.
So if we're talking the main stream going north or south, that would be parallel to Bondsville.
Yes.
Okay?
And you said that the road would go perpendicular.
The road will go perpendicular, but there's an additional stream. Mm-hmm. You see that?
Yep. Where? No.
You don't see it. So the additional stream
Well, I
would be
mean,
running.
I can,
There's
I
at
think I
least-
can.
there's at least one-
imagine what you're referring to, but I would prefer if you would point it out.
So again, there's 3 streams on the property, and using your pen, because I don't have one handy, so I don't have one. So again, you had suggested this blue line here, going north to south, would be the main stream through the site.
Sorry, Nate, can you put that under the camera?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Better. So again, you would call this blue line here the main stream. That's going north or south. That will be parallel to Bondsville. There's an additional stream that runs very close to Bondsville that also is parallel on here. And then there's an additional stream that goes essentially west-east in this direction. So those are the 3 streams we're referring
Where's
to.
that?
That's on the south side of the site, again, going west-east.
Is it on this?
Yes, it's right here. Joan,
Which
with-
line?
There's a bold line with 3 dots,
Okay.
similar to the other 2 streams indicated. So all 3 streams have lines with 2 or 3 dots. I can't tell what that scale, but
So 2 of those streams, quote-unquote streams, would be impacted or have to be engineered around for purposes of the construction of a road along the northern boundary of the property, correct?
correct.
And what, if anything, did Pinoti do in terms of mitigating the road's impact upon those 2 streams in generating its cost estimate for the township?
We had to make assumptions on sizes of culverts to be able to bridge those streams.
Did you have to consider soil remediation?
We had to consider, yeah, we had to consider stormwater management, which we included as part of the plank overall project, so we included capacity on that site for potential stormwater management needs as well.
And did you determine that it was feasible?
It's, again, feasible, potentially feasible, yes, but again, very high level for cost estimating purposes.
Okay, so it's expensive, but it's feasible
Okay.
to manage stormwater, is what you're saying?
Yes.
With these soils on this property
That's not what I said.
for a road extension?
No, we're going to manage the stormwater on an adjacent parcel, the Plank McCausland tract would be where the stormwater would be managed.
And for purposes of the record, where is the Plank McCausland tract with respect to this property?
That would be to the east.
Directly east?
Correct.
Directly contiguous?
Yes. Lindsay, I missed that, I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's a property in between. I think Applecross is in between HOA and then the Plank McCausland tract, to be clear.
So the analysis went far enough that you considered mitigation with stormwater management on other sites?
Correct.
Do you have any insight regarding the township's ultimate decision with respect to the study that you prepared in October of 2023?
No.
Did you have any, without disclosing any privileged information or executive session discussions, was there exploration by the board to your knowledge with respect to the study that you prepared?
Nothing to my knowledge.
Do you recall how much that study cost for the township to have Pannoni prepare?
I do not know that number.
Do you have an estimate?
I do not.
Several million.
To prepare it? Yes, those are different firms.
Okay, I think I am done. Just give me 1 second to look over. Okay, all right. One more question. One more question. With respect to your January 30th, 2025 letter, it doesn't matter if you look at 20 or 21. Your first comment in zoning, number 1, small portion of the southern end of the tract is located within the flood hazard district.
Yes.
How was that determined?
I believe based off of existing FEMA maps.
And how was it determined that there were wetlands on the property?
I don't think we determined there are wetlands on the property. I think the potential exists based on, again, topography, the 3 streams, the soil conditions, the hydric soils, and knowing that there's adjacent wetlands on the Applecross tract to the east.
Well, I do need this clarification because when Mr. Foley was asking you questions with respect to Exhibit A18, and I believe we were looking at page 7 of A18, which was a soil map with the CPB soil. I wrote down a quote from you that says, "The site is almost all wetlands."
I think you're, and maybe I'll defer to Mr. Foley, but I think you're not quoting how we got there, which is that, if I recall correctly, in the absence of a wetland study, hydric soils are determined to be wetlands, is the short version, I believe, of what we explained during that testimony.
And is that in the code?
Yes.
And where is that?
I think Mr. Foley quoted the section, it's in the record.
For the record, that is section 399-13.1, subsection capital B, parentheses 2. Excuse me. Brackets, little b, quote, "In the absence of a wetland delineation, the wetland's boundary shall be assumed to be the hydric soil or water hazard soil boundary as mapped in the most recent soil survey of Chester County," unquote.
And as a follow-up comment to that, comment, which Mr. Foley just clarified, thank you, Mr. Foley. I didn't write down exactly what you said, so I hope I don't misquote you, but I think you said something to the effect of the property was not developable. That you didn't even think one townhouse,
Again,
with the knowledge that you have.
with the information that's been provided and the way the code is worded in that section, essentially says in the absence of a wetland study, when there's hydric soils present, that needs to be considered part of the riparian corridor or conservation district, which essentially would prevent that from being potentially developed.
And did you provide similar commentary and advice to the township with the 2023 study for the East Reesville extension?
No, we did not do a code analysis as part of that. No.
Did you not think that was relevant?
Again, as I said before, we're talking feasibility and costs.
Do you think that a conditional use applicant prior to land development should be held to a different standard for feasibility and cost than the township itself?
Does the township have a conditional use application you're referring to? I think it would depend on the type of application.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Board's pleasure, I have about 6 questions.
5 minutes at most.
Yeah.
Does the board want to defer the redirect until the next hearing? Or-
Well,
I was gonna
let me ask this, is this our last witness in this hearing? Do we have any other
I'm gonna
witnesses
have rebuttal.
coming forward? You have,
I'm going to have rebuttals.
so you're gonna bring in other witnesses, so this will be continued?
Right.
Okay, so this isn't the last of this hearing?
I think the next one will be the last.
Okay,
The next
just
one
trying to
will
get
be-
a general idea, is, to let it go. So you have your questions, you have rebuttal?
I do.
I just
Okay.
want to make sure that
You want to defer the redirect examination until the next hearing?
I don't, I want to
You
get
wanna
this
hear it
done,
now? Okay.
and then.
But the problem with that is gonna be, I was thinking the same thing, get it over with, but the problem is now we're gonna have to remember his answers for her questions that are gonna come on the next.
You're not asking, you're not gonna have
She's
him
gonna
back up.
redirect.
Oh, you're gonna redirect.
He's,
I'm sorry,
Oh, no,
she's gonna
he-
rebuttal.
He's going to redirect, and then I do think it would be more efficient to let Mr. Foley do his redirect. That's just my opinion. And then if it pleases the board and Mr. Esty and everyone else, I would ask that September would just be rebuttal, loose ends, administrative.
Okay.
right. Go ahead, Mr. Foley.
Yeah.
You were asked a number of questions about comprehensive plan planning. I'm not positive that they're relevant to this proceeding, but I'm just going to ask one. Your experience, does the township's adoption of a amended comprehensive plan ever direct or suggest amendments to its zoning ordinances and subdivision and land development ordinances?
Almost all the time.
We were asked about the October 23rd traffic study by Pannoni for the township and Appendix D. At the time of that study, was the intersection at Bondsville Road and East Reesville Road a four-way intersection?
You're saying as part of that design?
No. Was it physically a four-way intersection?
No, it's a three-way intersection.
Still not a four-way intersection.
Correct, it's still three ways.
At the time of that study, were there 21 townhouses generating traffic into that intersection?
Sure or not, no.
Did the study contemplate the making of the intersection into a four-way intersection or the addition of 21 additional townhouse units?
It contemplated not the 21 townhouses, but did contemplate a four-way intersection, and I believe we might have even looked at a roundabout concept.
Thank you. The reference to that section of the code that we've been referring to, Section 137, Item D, which is the one talking about a development in stages. It's clear that this applicant has not suggested development of the townhouses in stages, correct?
Correct.
But the application and the responses speak for themselves. The road is proposed to be initially constructed as a half road by the applicant with a later addition of the other half road?
Yeah, it did appear that the submission indicated some sort of half-road concept or design where half would be constructed along the property line, but again, there was very limited information or detail on that concept.
We're asked about, under the item number F, about public services, including sewage disposal. Can you tell us, in your experience as a municipal engineer, what's usually done by an applicant at a conditional use stage to explore the feasibility of public sewer availability?
Public sewer, I think at a minimum, there'd be outreach to either a municipal authority in this case or a sewer department. In other municipalities, you'd reach out to the municipal sewer engineer. You would possibly reach out to DEP regarding their regulations and the approved 537 plan. Would all be steps that you would take, before you make assumptions on what's, feasible sewer-wise.
Was any of that done to your knowledge here?
I do not believe so.
When the board takes its judicial notice of the sections of the ordinance that define the term watercourse, do you recall seeing a section that would include watercourses identified by an applicant's plan as being included in the definition?
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Yes, I'm asking your recollection about the ordinance section.
Okay.
Do you recall whether or not the township's ordinances include the identification of a watercourse by an applicant as part of the definition for inclusion as a
No, I
watercourse?
don't believe it's determined by the applicant. That's not what the code
Okay.
says.
Nevertheless, is the north-south watercourse through the center of this property identified as a watercourse on the applicant's plan?
Yeah, in multiple locations.
Last question, two questions. Did any of the issues raised on cross-examination change any of the opinions you expressed in your direct testimony?
I don't believe so. It's a hard question.
Is there anything about your direct testimony that you would change as a result of being questioned?
I don't believe so.
And were all your opinions expressed tonight with a reasonable degree of engineering certainty?
Again, yes, with the information that was provided to us.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Anything else?
Yeah, and I just want this to continue to be on the record. Administratively, I'm not going to subject Nate to any further annoyance, but with respect to...
Justice Project? Or?
I promise. With respect to September, though, and tying up loose ends, because Mr. Foldy had to throw in the 537 plan, if we can't just acknowledge that the 537 plan is what it is on the record, if we're going to tap dance around this, I need to know from you, Mr. Esty, whether it's do I have to subpoena the municipal authority engineer for September? I mean, I don't want to. Can I just notice him to appear just to get this completely put it to bed?
Well, I mean, I think I said this before. It's up to you how you want to present your case.
Well, I
But
know,
would say
I
this.
want him here. What I'm asking is the formality of a subpoena necessary?
so. No,
Or can I
I'm
just
sure
send
Mr.
you a notice to appear? Because I
I'm
think you're the
sure.
solicitor for the municipal authority as well, correct?
Correct. So I'm sure Mr. Gould has, if he's available, he's not on vacation somewhere, or someone from his office would
Okay.
be willing to appear. I was about to say happy to appear, but I don't know about that.
And it won't be long, I promise. I will have two questions for the gentleman, but I just want to make it clear on the record that the 537 plan is what it is.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Do we have questions?
oh,
From the
sure,
board?
if you want to.
All right, I have just two questions for Nate, and this may apply to you or not, but have you, or to your knowledge, any township official received a proposed townhouse plan of the 18 by 36 unit shown on the site plan to determine the feasibility and constructability of the townhouse building?
You're referring to like a specific building plan or unit?
Yeah, plan of the building.
I have not.
Architectural plan or floor plan, any kind of plan?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Next question is, to your knowledge, have you received or any official of the township received a fire truck radius plan prepared and submitted by the applicant?
To my knowledge, isn't.
Okay.
All right, thank you. With that, then we'll continue this hearing until Thursday, September 18th, 2025, to commence shortly after the end of the Board of Supervisors meeting. That meeting begins at 6:30 PM. I would request that everyone be here by no later than 6:45 PM, because sometimes those meetings end quickly.
So that's September the 18th.
I believe so. September the 18th,
September the 18th.
right, 2025. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.